Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello everyone, welcome to Primetime Local News, Tuesday edition, a very cold Tuesday edition. We have a great show for you. We have Pet Project today, so Becca will be joining us a little bit later in the cast with a very friendly puppy, or dog I suppose. We're also talking for a question of the day, what is a food you didn't like as a child but now you enjoy or you love?
I don't know, I've never really been a picky eater. Like, I think I pretty much ate everything as a kid, so I don't know. I think maybe something like, I don't know, maybe stronger tasting like spices and stuff that you get used to over time, but I didn't have anything particular that I didn't really like.
You were had your palate, it was full of experience by the time that you, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, we'll dive into that conversation in just a little bit, but first, let's go check in with Brett Holden.
We are here at Ace Water, where today we are getting a little bit of a tour of Ace Water, some of the things behind the scenes, as well as we are talking about some of the openings that they have just had here, where their water is flowing to, including up to Marwayne and a few other areas. We're also going to be able to look at some of the things that is put into your water that makes it softer and safer. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Ace Water, but first let's head back into the studio where Elise has a look at your local news.
And Buscopan is one of the Canada-wide drug shortages currently affecting patients. Buscopan has been in and out of stock over the past year, and it is used regularly with patients across Canada.
It's a pretty common medication used for cramping and gastrointestinal issues, and so it makes a fairly big impact in terms of managing patients in short term with their issues.
The current shortage has been going on since the end of last year, and it isn't clear when it will be over.
As of right now, there's no expected return date from the wholesaler. That could mean that it could be back tomorrow, or it could be longer term even.
Mellick says there is another medication they can substitute, but it doesn't have the long-term data they see with Buscopan. And a reminder to homeowners to keep your outside vents clear of snow and ice. During the winter months, snow can pile up in front of the vents on the outside of your home that can create many problems within your home.
With exhaust vents, you'll have the exhaust vents for your furnaces, water heaters, everything like that. If they get snow and ice over them, they can shut your furnace off and not work. And a lot of furnaces suck fresh air from outside as well, and you can get frosting or icing off there, and you can create just more issues for the furnace with that. So.
On top of costly problems caused by snow cover, there can also be deadly problems resulting from improper circulation.
A lot of times people put new windows and doors in, and then the building's airtight, and then there's no fresh air. So then when your furnace is running or your water heater is running, you're using up the oxygen in the building, and then the easiest spot for the oxygen to get back in is through your chimney, because there's now you've created a negative pressure in your basement, and then the positive pressure from outside, it wants to get into your home to equalize that pressure.
This negative pressure will cause the release of CO2, which is a deadly odorless gas that is very hard to detect. Ensuring your vents are clear can prevent a very serious situation. 12 members of the Border City Rotary Club received the Paul Harris Fellowship Award today. The award is given to Rotary members that donate over $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation. The money is then used to projects around the world.
Other multiples up here as well, but
the foundation is international, and it supports international projects, so projects around the world in third world countries, helping end polio, things like that.
Members can also qualify by receiving fellowship points from others. If someone gets 1,000 points, they are able to receive the award.
We were able to distribute those points to members and able to have the donations brought to the foundation. So it was a club and a member sort of together achievement. So yeah, it is pretty big to have all of us all at once.
The award was created in 1957, and so far over 1 million Rotarians have received it. And the RCMP are gearing up for their second regimental ball in March. The first ball the RCMP held was back in 2017, and after the overwhelming support and interest from the community, they decided to make the ball a biannual event.
Had such a success at our last one. A lot of the members of the community have been asking, when is your next ball? So we decided to have it biannually, and it happens to fall March 23rd.
The ball is a way to get the community together to raise money for the victim services within the city.
The community involved. Our RCMP officers love to interact with the community, and we don't get to do that as often as we would like. So this brings together members of the community just to have a really good time, for, as I said, for a great cause.
The tickets are available at the RCMP detachment through Victim Services. And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who is on location.
We are here in the operations room here at Ace Water, and Brent joins me now. Brent, let's talk about just, you had some big openings today. Let's talk about kind of the importance of that and what we're doing in here today.
Well, today is about bringing in the communities that we've just connected onto Ace Water East, so the village of Marwayne, village of Kidscotty, and the County of Vermilion River being Blackfoot. So it was about bringing them in today to just give them a feel of the plant and the operations, and also bringing in the Mayor of Lloydminster, who we are getting our water from. So.
Let's talk about just kind of the importance as well of just kind of bringing all this in, and what exactly this means to the other communities as well.
Well, it's a goal of the Alberta government. The Water for Life strategy throughout the province was to do away with all of the little community water wells and the treatment that every community was having to do, and to get to a central source and eliminate some of that liability and the challenges that all of those communities were having with treating their water. Like, some were better than others, but for the most part, the different communities were having struggles with treating their water out of those water wells.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Ace Water, but first let's head back into the studio. Michaela has a look at your weather.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. It is a cold Tuesday out there. We are sitting at minus 20, but it is feeling like minus 31 degrees out there, going to feel like minus 33 in the morning. Not too far off from that that number there, minus 40 back in 2008, but the plus 6 from 1984 would be nice. As we look to the satellite radar, a couple of patches of precipitation moving in from the west, and that 30% chance it'll hit our area of Lloydminster, and then also as we move up north, so Bonnyville, St. Paul, Lac-La-Biche as well, 30% chance you could also see some flurry activity this evening, and we are in for some tomorrow. Watches and warnings, Saskatchewan also currently in effect. That extreme cold warning continues. Areas like North Battleford, it has come off of yet, but it's just not showing up on our radar at this time. But it is still very cold out there, and frostbite is imminent, only taking up to 5 to 10 minutes to happen on the skin there. So do are bundled up. Numbers across the board. Fairly cold. So we're sitting at minus 11 in Edmonton, minus 2 for Edson, minus 8 in Jasper, also in Whitecourt, minus 14 up in Athabasca. And then as we move over into Saskatchewan, a little bit colder there, minus 25 in Meadow Lake, minus 29 currently in Prince Albert and Melfort, sitting at minus 31 with Saskatoon sitting at minus 26. As we look to the broadcast area, overnight, North Battleford's going to stay there at the minus 24 range, but could see some not some flower activity. That would be nice. We're not in spring yet. Some snow activity and possibly 2 to 4 centimeters tomorrow morning. Most of the snow should be contained to the morning, but could continue throughout the rest of the day. Cold Lake, minus 22 overnight, and then tomorrow again 2 to 4 centimeters is going to fall. Minus 14 is the daytime high there. Overnight here in the border city, minus 21 is our temperature, but we're going to feel like minus 33 in the morning. 30% chance we can see some of that flurry activity start tomorrow, and then tonight rather, and then tomorrow 80% chance we're going to see about 2 to 4 centimeters of fall throughout the day, and then possibly into the evening. And I'll have more details on how much more snow we're getting coming up a little bit later.
Welcome back. What's in the water is important for us as well as our furry friends, and Gerard Lempo finds out that it's more than just keeping the water bowl clean.
Because the lab will actually measure that number directly. What's in your water? Is that water good for humans? Is it good for livestock?
Jennifer Hayden has been with the Ministry of Agriculture for 9 years and is based at the North Battleford office. Knowing what's in the water is a critical concern.
What does it contain for minerals or metals or things like sulfate, which are not good for cattle?
If water quality is poor, then that affects the steak on your plate from day one.
We want to make sure water quality is good so that those cows get a good start. They've got good feed intake, good growth, good immunity, and good production.
Officers from the ministry traveled the province testing water sources.
So we have water meters that we can take out and help producers. Specifically, they measure electrical conductivity, which will give us an indication of what total dissolved solids, which is a parameter that's probably familiar to most farmers and ranchers. So that's everything in the water that's salt, mineral, metals.
The measure of total dissolved solids, or TDS, will determine whether further testing may be needed at the provincial lab in Regina.
Producers should be testing. They should know, they should have a benchmark idea of what their TDS is, so that total dissolved solids, and what that's made up of. So is it sodium chloride? Is it salt that's there? Is it sulfate?
The ministry has numerous resources available to help producers, and water testing is recommended at least once a year.
Ag Knowledge Center is 1-866-457-2377. We have some good resources on our website, saskatchewan.ca/agriculture. And specifically the North Battleford office, they can call 306-446-7962.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
That's your ag news. Sports is next, but first we'll take a look at your ag prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Taking a look at your local sports now. When the Lloydminster Bobcats hit the ice in Bonnyville tomorrow evening, it ends their longest break between games of the season since Christmas. In this week's Beyond the Boards, Josh Ryan looks at how the players use their spare time.
The Bobcats showed progress in their last two games before a rare weekend off, timing nicely to finals exams for several players.
Anytime you can get some time off to yourself, or with just stick around hockey a bit, or off from school even, is just a good time to relax and stuff. You don't have to worry about two things at once, just focus on the school side of things, and it's just a lot easier to get that done.
Taking classes while training full-time is a new experience for many of the Bobcats players who have learned from exam preparation this month.
There were some times where I knew I should have been studying, where I was doing other things, but then at the end of the day I got it done, and I worked hard and I got what I needed to do done.
The team also spent some time in the community, specifically working with minor hockey, hosting 9 on-ice sessions alone Monday afternoon.
We went around the city and picked some Atom teams to go and skate with, and we helped out at practices and just hung around for the kids.
That sort of activity still feels less like work than a break from routine.
We go out there and we try to teach the kids a little pointer here and there, but I mean, it's a lot of fun seeing all these little kids have fun doing what we love to do.
And that comes at a nice time as well, where adjustments to change are starting to sink in.
There was a lot of change before the break, new coaches, new systems, new everything, but I think that over the break everybody adjusted well.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
Beyond the Boards is brought to you by City Centre Auto Body. At City Centre Auto Body, they can fix anything, now on both sides of the border.
And now we're going to go back to Brett Holden at the water treatment.
Brent joins us once again here at Ace Water. And Brent, we're in kind of a different room here. Let's talk about the importance of this room we're in.
We're in the room that houses our ammonia injection. So with the ammonia, we add ammonia to the water. And what the ammonia does is give the chlorine more life, basically. So it maintains our residual value of the chlorine in the water when it leaves here and goes out to the communities.
So let's talk about the common misconceptions when it comes to some of the things that's put into water, including kind of ammonia as well. For myself, I wasn't sure about kind of ammonia, but let's talk about some of the things that some people don't really necessarily recognize when it comes to some of the water.
Yeah, well, it's a requirement that we have to have chlorine in our water, and the chlorine basically kills any bacteria in that water. So it's not something new having chlorine in water. We have a requirement that we have to meet by Alberta Environment Standards in that chlorine in delivering it to the communities. So those communities were all adding chlorine up to now, and it's just a matter now that we're doing it here, and we're actually adding far less chlorine than they were having to add out in those communities because of the type of water that we're treating here. And we're treating the water out of the North Saskatchewan, which is easier water to treat than the groundwater.
Now, we have a couple seconds here, but let's talk about just what this does with the chlorine.
What it does, so it gets added to the water with the chlorine, and it gives the chlorine more life. So if we weren't adding the ammonia, we could have issues with maintaining those chlorine levels when it leaves here and it gets delivered out to those communities.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Ace Water, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela has a look at your weather.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. Starting it off with this really gorgeous shot from Lashburn. Thank you so much for sending that in. We are cold, and it's not getting much better, and we are expecting a whole lot of snow over the next 7 days. Pretty much snow every day in the forecast, unfortunately. We're sitting at -20 right now, feeling like -31 out there, and it's feeling like that across pretty much the entire map. -20 up in Marwin, -19 for Bonnyville, -18 in Lac La Biche. Cold Lake sitting at -20. Now all these areas from Lloydminster, and then as we move up north and west north here, areas 30% chance we could see some flurry activity tonight, and then we are in for some snow for the rest of the week. -22 currently in Maidstone, -25 up in St. Walburg, -24 in North Battleford. And then as we look up north, numbers are in the 30s and the deep -20s here. So -25s up in La Loche. Uranium City sitting at -31, -32 in La Ronge. And then look at that, -36 in Stony Rapids. It is cold, you guys. -19 in Fort McMurray, -11 in Slave Lake. Peace River sitting at -10 with Grand Prairie sitting at -11. And then look at these. This would be nice. -2 currently in Lethbridge, Banff sitting at -5, -4 in Calgary. And then quite the contrast as we move over into Saskatchewan, -27 in Regina, Yorkton sitting at -31, and Estevan at -30 currently. We're going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow, but we are expecting 2 to 4 centimeters of snow in the area, and that's going to come into effect for pretty much both provinces, especially in the area. So Lloydminster, Bonnyville, Lac La Biche, Cold Lake, and North Battleford all expecting about 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. As we look to our snow accumulation, we are in for quite a bit over the next week here, so we're expecting possibly 10 centimeters on Friday alone. As we look that, we're getting into that deep 12 centimeter range by the end of it. So as we look to the school day forecast, it's going to be a chilly start, -20 first thing in the morning, and then we're warming up to -18 over recess, and then -14 when the kids head home, and snow. So we're expecting 2 to 4 centimeters tomorrow. -12 is the daytime high, -21 low. Warmer on Thursday at -3. Could see another 1 to 3 centimeters there. Friday, 10 to 15 centimeters we are expecting there. And then on Sunday, possibly another 5 to 10 centimeters, with Monday another 2 to 4. So we're in for a cold and snowy 7-day forecast.
And now we're going to send it back to Brett Holden on location.
Brent joins us once again from here at Ace Water. And Brent, we're in the control room now. What does a control room in a place like Ace Water really mean for you guys?
Well, this room is where the operators basically control the function of the plant itself. So from here, they can control everything to do with the plant operations. But also from here, once our full communication system is up and running, they'll be able to control what's happening out in all of the communities, too, that we're serving water to. So this is a very vital part of the operations of ACE, but a very operator-friendly system for them to be able to have. And it really makes life simple for the operators.
Let's talk about the importance that might have for not only ACE, but also the communities as well, and just kind of when it comes to seeing how the way your water is controlled as well.
Right. Well, from here, like as I was mentioning earlier, we do our chlorine ads and our ammonia ads here, but from here we can also see what that's being delivered to the communities at, and at the same time we can see all of their reservoir levels. And if there becomes an issue out there in one of those communities where, say, perhaps they had an emergency and had a fire, we can ramp up the delivery of water from here to them if they did have an emergency. So right now they're all set at certain set points, but we can control and adjust that right from here.
Perfect. And just really quickly, let's talk about just how this would work if somebody was in here right now.
Well, what the operator would do, he'd be logging into it. If you are able to see that screen, what you're seeing there right now is the reservoirs of, the level of the reservoirs in this facility right here. Right now, all of the pumps are showing gray. Now, if they were sitting here and it started, like those pumps would change color to a green, and that actually shows you which pump is in operation. And the same thing would be happening if you could see one of those communities here. From here, you'd see what their reservoir levels are, if the water's flowing in there, and at what rate it's flowing into there. You could see the chlorine levels in those communities. So it's a real benefit to have something like this in the operations of maintaining that good quality drinking water and making sure that those communities are getting what they need.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Ace Water, but first, let's head back into the studio where Michaela and Elise are talking about your question of the day.
All right, we are talking food for our question of the day. I grew up and I'm still a very picky eater, so this question I got a few answers to. What is something that you didn't like as a child food-wise that you either can tolerate now or love? For me, it's beef.
Oh,
I didn't eat beef until I was 21 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I got E. coli.
Oh.
Yeah, and then almost died. So, yeah, I stayed away from the beef.
Traumatizing experience.
But now I'm addicted to hamburgers.
There you go.
Yeah, what about you? You're saying sushi.
Yeah, well, I really didn't have anything particular. Like, I wasn't a picky eater. I ate basically everything. But I think sushi, which I love, is probably something that took me couple tries to get into it.
I think that's one for everyone. I think the raw fish kind of throws everyone off. But yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
I want to read a couple of the comments. A lot of people weighing in with vegetables. A lot of broccoli on there. A lot of tomatoes. Trisha says peppers and onions. Also a lot of onions. Jacqueline says onions, pickles, and mustard. And a lot of Brussels sprouts.
Oh yeah, Brussels sprouts are very bitter. I get
them.
that. No, I get that.
You don't like them still?
Yeah, I'll eat them, but they're
eat
not
your
my favorite.
Brussels sprouts, Elise. Yeah, Kayla says Brussels sprouts. Same with Linda. Tracy says spinach, and Lois says ham because she thought it was too salty when she was a kid.
That's fair.
Yeah, for me, it's most meat. I didn't eat a lot of it growing up, and now I'm just a full carnivore. So
there you go.
Anyways, we're gonna switch to our pets of the day. Let's see who we have. We have some interesting animals today.
Yeah.
Some new ones. Look at this, a little newt.
Aww.
This is
it's so tiny.
I think his name is Newton the Newt. I messed that up. Yeah,
that'd be very fitting.
Yeah, super cute. Look at that tiny little guy. That was sent to us by Tina. Thanks for sending that in. Next up, we have Happy Duke. Look at that big smile. Smiling because it's much warmer.
Yeah, exactly.
That was sent to us by Lydia. Thank you so much for sending that adorable shot of Duke in. Look at Stassi and Lou, the two best friends. Look at that. That was sent to us by Lori. I love when cats and dogs are friends.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, it should be.
All be friends together.
Yeah. Look at this little Coda all tucked in, ready for 8 hours of slumber. I love it.
His paws are like over the blanket.
Yeah, and look at his ears. He looks like a little fox.
He does.
Yeah, very cute. Thank you, James, for sending that one in. And then look at this, a mini horse, and it's a furry mini horse. This is Mab and Kyrie. This was sent to us by Alana, so she says that they're really good friends.
I wonder if the horse ever wants to come into the house because he's like little.
Maybe. And they're the same colors.
Yeah, they could be like,
I like that.
Best friends.
All right. Thank you, Alana, for sending that in. If you have a pet and you would like to see them here on our show, please send us a picture. Please include their name. And if they are selected to be shown on the show, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card, which we draw for every Friday.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
All right, another edition of Pet Project this Tuesday, joined with Becca Lawrence from the SPCA and Callie. Look at her, she is enjoying some treats. She is so cute. What can you tell us about Callie?
So Callie's about 4.5 years old. Still lots of puppy left in her though. She's got just a abundance of energy, this one. So she is looking for a bit of a more active family, I would say. But yeah, no, she's a great girl.
Yeah,
Very treat motivated.
How old is she?
She's about 4.5 years old. So like I said, I mean, she still's got a lot of puppy in her, so I'm not really too worried about, you know, her being playful or anything afterwards, or not being playful, kind of rather. But yeah, so she's 4.5, but she doesn't really show it too much.
Yeah, definitely. And how would she do with other animals? Would she be suitable for a home with animals already?
You know, I think she wouldn't be terrible. I think she's been around cats before, and you know, the other dogs in the shelter, she doesn't really care too much when they're barking or things like that. So I don't think the dogs really bother her as much either. I think she'd really rather play than anything else.
Yeah. Well, she's, I mean, everyone in the newsroom loved getting to pet her and everything. Super sweet. So how is the shelter doing with animals currently? Do you guys have, you said you've kind of adopted most of the dogs at this point.
Yeah, so it's just Callie and one other dog up on the adoption floor. We actually did move a couple puppies up. So we have a few puppies up on the floor now as well too. But yeah, so they again have to wait for their spay neuter surgeries yet, but yeah, so we have some puppies that'll be coming up here right away.
But you can go in and visit them before they're up for adoption.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So Valentine's Day is coming, and I know last year I took advantage of your Valentine's Day pictures, and you guys will be doing it again. So what can people expect from this year's pictures?
So we're going to do the kissing booth again. It really worked out well. We're just going to revamp it a little bit, but yeah, so I think we're going to aim for the 12th and the 13th, so 2 different nights, and for sure we'll be at Pet Value, so that it'll be from that time frame around 5 to 8 p.m. So yeah, we're just going to do some photos and have fun with it again.
Awesome. And what is the cost for the photos?
I would say probably around the $5 area as well here too. We just kind of print on site, and then you get to go home right away with your photo.
Yeah, it's perfect. You get a little printout and you take it home, put it in a little heart-shaped frame there for Valentine's Day. Awesome. You guys have another exciting venture this week. You'll be at the Bobcats game. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we were just invited to go out as a charity to kind of hang out with the, you know, do the puck drop kind of thing. So we're going to go hang out with the Bobcats and do some fun activities there during intermissions and things like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done it before yet, so I'm excited for that.
Awesome. All right, Becca, I want to thank you so much for coming in and showing Callie. What is the best way to contact the SPCA if they are interested in some animals?
I would just call us. You know, we are there in the mornings, right? But I mean, we don't open until 11. But I mean, you can always drop in as well too. And but yeah, just phoning us at 780-875-2809.
All right, awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much. If you're interested in Callie or any of the other animals at the SPCA, head down there in person or definitely check out their website as they're all on there. And all the animals you do adopt from the SPCA are spayed and neutered, and they have their vaccine, so they are good to go.
Good to
all right, thanks so much, Becca.
Absolutely.
Pet Project is brought to you by Quick Pick Waste Disposal, Lloydminster's #1 waste and recycling hauler. Quick Pick is waste collection you can depend on.
Joined with Amanda Pre today, and we talk a lot of different things with you because you wear a lot of different hats, but today we are talking about once the baby comes, sleeping patterns, getting them into a routine, healthy routines and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of talk to you first, one, about the importance of it and how you can kind of even go about tackling that kind of thing.
Yes, so sleep is very important. As an adult, it's something we all want, especially when we have those babies, and it's something that we lack.
Yeah.
So getting your baby off to the right start definitely is very helpful. We actually say getting them into a bedtime routine is the golden ticket for good sleep. So what happens here is it helps them go to sleep easier. if the routine is very consistent every night, as well as not as many wake-ups in the night.
Right. And can you give me an example of like a routine that tends to work out? Is it usually like a bath, or like when you eat? Like what are the kind of like set routines that you can kind of get them going on that path?
For sure.
Yeah.
So we usually like to start with a bath. So a bedtime routine we say should take no longer than 30 minutes.
Okay.
That way we're not dealing with an overtired child.
Yeah.
Right? And timing is really key as well. So we don't want them to be too overtired or too undertired, because that can allot to a lot of crying in an infant. So we start with a bath. It doesn't have to be a wild bath, just a nice, calm, relaxing bath. A little massage with some lotion is always great to add in there as well. It helps decrease their stress level, gets them kind of ready for bed, and can help increase those melatonin levels, which babies don't have at birth.
Sure.
And then we go into putting on pajamas, a sleep sack, getting them comfy and cozy, then going to a little story, a song, a feed, and then into the crib.
Awesome. And that starts when do you kind of want to start that routine? Kind of right at the start?
Yeah, so with new moms, you're kind of trying to figure it all out in the first couple of weeks, but once you're kind of ready, you'll know, like you just kind of start into a routine. So with a newborn baby, you want to look at bedtime between 9 and 11.
Okay.
Around the 4-month mark, then we can start to bump bedtime back to about 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, and I was going to ask you, does the kind of, as the baby gets older, does the routine kind of change timing-wise? Can you kind of drop things out, or is it kind of the best way to just kind of keep it consistent up until which age, basically, would you kind of keep that going?
I say keep the bedtime routine pretty consistent until you need to drop the timing back. And you'll know as your baby gets older, they'll need more awake time. That way we can back bedtime up, as well as the feed might change around the 3 and 4 month mark.
Right.
You'll want to move the feed right before they go to sleep to kind of to the beginning before the bath.
Oh, okay.
So you want to make sure that they get a nice feed, make sure they're not distracted, so their little tummies are full.
Yeah.
And then kind of go through the steps, and bed should be the last thing.
Perfect. And just one question for you with regards to when they do fall asleep and then the wake up in the night and they're crying, is it best that you kind of let them kind of self-soothe, or what are your thoughts on that and how to tackle that situation?
Yeah, so I mean, parents can always reach out to me to ask questions specifically for their baby and kind of their pattern and what's kind of going on in the night. But to just kind of give them a few minutes, because in the beginning babies are really noisy and sometimes they don't need us to respond, and we do. Especially if we have other children in the house or a husband who needs to wake up, we kind of jump out of bed and respond to the baby right away. And that's something we can kind of wait a little bit to see if they really need us.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you for all our information, and hopefully that helps if you've got a baby at home, and hope everyone gets a good sleep. So thank you for coming in. We appreciate it, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Well, I am here at Ace Water today. We were able to kind of look around, including here in the operations room, as well as look into the background of just some of the stuff that you might see going into your water that makes them safe and taste better as well. We also got to see just kind of the operations room, including some of the things that you see that'll make these pipes run. And we also were here for some of the opening and tour as well, some water that is going to be going to communities like Marwayne and Blackfoot, including Kitscoty as well. So we'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Ace Water in the second hour, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela and Elise will wrap up the first hour of tonight's show.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. As you can see from the icons here on our 7-day forecast, we are in for a lot of snow, much snow, and unfortunately the temperatures are not getting too much warmer, just a little bit warmer on Thursday. Tomorrow we're expecting 2 to 4 centimeters. Thursday another 1 to 3. Friday is going to be the big snowfall here. We're expecting 10 to 15 centimeters and temperatures -11, -12 for the overnight low. A little bit cooler on Saturday at -19 and -20, and we could see another 1 to 3 centimeters fall. And then Sunday, yet again, we could see 5 to 10 centimeters fall there, and it's going to be cold, -23, and then even colder on Monday at -27, -32 for the overnight low. And on Monday, we could expect another 2 to 4 centimeters. So basically, the only day without snow in the forecast is next Tuesday, and that's a 25% chance. But we had 30% chance we could see some of that flurry activity start this evening, and then tomorrow we will be in for quite a bit of snow, and it's going to be throughout the day and then possibly sprinkling on throughout the evening. So we are in for a lot of snow. Yes. Yesterday we asked the question, do you prefer cold or snow? And we're getting both.
No one gets to choose.
No,
nobody wins.
Yeah, exactly. And just reading up on some weather, looks like February is probably going to be our coldest month. So looks like these
You're starting to
are
become a very hated person here.
Yes,
so
I know. If you see me out in public,
careful.
don't blame me for this weather, okay? It's not my fault. I just say the numbers.
Yeah. Well, we're still going to blame you because we got to blame somebody. So.
Okay, well, I don't like that. I'll just, we'll find someone else.
Okay,
just
sounds good.
Okay?